Good morning, afternoon, or evening, whatever time it is you see me. It's your girl Rain, and I am really excited for tonight because I'm about to be doing my Nitty Gritty Relationship History Part 3. And this week, on the first week, just as a quick recap, on the first week, I was speaking about my relationship history that I had with my ex-husband, the father of my son, and then how that whole relationship started, how it grew, how the divorce came about and everything, life after divorce. And then second week, which was last week, I went into the details of my second marriage, and that was interesting as well. Pretty much I just wanted to do a quick recap on that. Like, I always wanted to give lessons that I learned, which is, in that case, I learned uh, a great deal of things. In both cases, I learned a great deal of things, but on the second go around, I did learn a lot, and just was talking about boundaries that I set, and making sure that I understood understood like my worth, and understood at what point do you stay, like, do you go, like, just making sure that I always come out of a situation that was really tough and making sure that I learned something from it. Okay, so with that being said, what I want to do is try and invite up my guest for today, my mystery guest. One second here. Okay, there he is. And drum roll, please. Just kidding. My mystery guest is loading. Any second now. Just give it a couple seconds. There we go. Yay.
Yeah. Hold on, let me get mine because I can't hear you yet.
Oh, I was going to say, can you hear
All
me?
right.
Okay. And we are in the building. This is my mystery guest. For those of you who don't know or who are watching the replay, this is the Mr. Paris Roper. And this is actually my second husband, ex-husband. So I thought it was great since, like I said on the last live, we ended our relationship on really good terms. And so we're still co-parenting. We have a daughter together who's 1 year, well, a year and a half now. And so, like, we're co-parenting. That's been going well for all of the last couple of months. And I just wanted to bring him on to give his side of the story because, there's always two sides, and I didn't want to be biased, to just let you guys know how things ended on my end. So, for your part, I just wanted, to introduce yourself. I know I just kind of gave a brief overview, but just for your own personal, yeah.
All right. So, I don't know if it's just me. I hear a record. I hear echo. That's why. So I am Paris Roper. I am a father of one. I am a preacher since the age of 14. I am a church boy.
Through and through.
um, I am a love coach, certified international love coach, sexologist, community outreach specialist. I'm a lot of things. Community activist. Um, yeah, just a whole bunch of stuff. So,
Most definitely. Okay, so since I have you here, and it's, like I said, it's going to be your side of the story, I'm just going to ask, like, brief questions or, like, open-ended questions for
that's
you,
cool.
and then just to, like, give your perspective. Okay, I'll jump in whenever I feel like there's some miscommunication being happening.
Wait, what do you mean, my side story? What do you mean by that?
I mean your story. Like, I told my side of how we met, um how, our relationship developed, how, like, the part of us getting married, troubles that we had in the marriage from my perspective, and then as well as, like, going into the divorce, like, how did all that happen? So starting from the beginning, from the beginning?
Well, from the beginning, I would say this: never rush into things. And I, uh, I feel like there was a major rush. There was a major rush with stuff um, for myself,
Mm.
as the pressures of ministry, as the pressures of individuals. Like it was just a lot of pressure um, from families, from friends, from associates. It was just a lot of pressure. Plus, I knew where I was at that time, but yet I surrendered to the pressure that are preached. Um, I surrendered to the pressure, and I went forth and proposed. And then later on that year, we got married. Um, lo and behold,
I don't hold up. Wait a minute.
what happened?
You just jumping right into the marriage like we were dating for like a whole year. Like, tell me what happened in the dating phase on your side. Like, you skipping through a lot of stuff. Hold
Um, okay, so from the dating phase, all right, so this is how it all started. I was going out of town,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, someone got offended that I did not say bye to them, and I got a very disturbing text like that I never got before, and so I'm like, okay, cool, I'm sorry, and while I was out of town, text messages was going forth, phone calls was taking place. Well, no, it was really voice recordings and text messages.
Mm-hmm.
Got back from out of town, doing ministry work, and then after that, that's when um, we started dating. We started talking more. We started hanging out more. We started dating. We came with the rule of no kissing. I said I couldn't do that because
No, no, that's not what you said.
I said I'm not. I said I can't do that.
No, I remember exactly what you said. You said that's gonna be tough, and I'm gonna try. I remember you said you didn't say you can't, because if you said you can't, I would have been like, "I'm sorry, buddy." Like I would have made that an ultimatum. But you said that's gonna be tough, and I was like, "Yeah, I know it's gonna."
I did try though. I did try.
Lie.
I gave it a try for about a week. After a week, I was like, no.
Said it was like 2 weeks.
No. After a week, I was like, no, I can't do this. I'm a very physical person, so it's like, yeah, no kissing. What? This ain't holy. This can't be God. So then, yeah, one day I came, was at your mom's house on the front porch, and you asked me why I kissed you. I said, I don't know, I just want to kiss you. And then you pulled me back in to kiss you some more because you liked the kiss, Really?
You said that, oh, I had to because you're so beautiful and this and this and that. And that's what got me all like mushy, like, all right.
So, like I said, we dated. I was working a lot because of the job that I had at the time.
Mm-hmm.
It was very time consuming. We'll go out every now and then. For the most part, we'll be chilling either at the place where I lived at or the place where you lived at. But for the most part, it was like, yeah, we was talking, dating, kissing. Then talks about your family reunion came around.
Oh.
And a little hints was being thrown at me, like it would be great if she could go to the family reunion being engaged and all this other stuff. And I'm like, okay. That's all right. Let me see if I can make that happen. I kind of did surrender to that pressure too, because I didn't just take it as talk. I took it as this is what I need to do. after, especially after talking to certain individuals, that was like, oh yeah, she's the one. Be careful who you talk to. That's if I give anybody advice, that's the advice. Be careful who you talk to. Because everybody just said, oh, you better not do this, you better do this, you better. And so I was getting so much confused with words of counsel or words of advice. And it was like, okay, I'm going to just do this. Pop the question. I think it was a week before your birthday.
Yeah.
And set it all up. Blew the. I did the doggone thing.
You did the doggone thing.
I did it. So, everybody was crying but me. I was the only man around. You know, he was even crying.
You knew you did one of the tears.
I ain't cry. And so proposal, pop the question. Birthday came. Did another birthday event. Huh?
I think you're echoing.
Oh, yeah, I hear an echo. So it's like I'm trying to catch up.
Is your earphones?
No, my headphones is out. It was worse on the headphones. It was right in my ear. All right, but I don't know why it's echoing, but nevertheless, so yeah, proposed, went to the family reunion. I ain't gonna lie, for my first time being in Philadelphia, I had a good time, even though we kept on getting arguments and disagreements, and so much happened. I'm like, yo, I ain't got to deal with this, but I still did. You know what I'm saying? Listen, first of all, if I give anybody advice, know it's real when the balance is unequal. Like there was definitely an unbalance between me and you. It was definitely huh?
What do you mean by that unbalance?
We had ministry good. We didn't have walking in agreement good.
Okay.
Like we was good when it came to church. We was good. Like at certain moments we was real good. But at the time, and see, at that time, that's the only thing I was really focusing on.
Right.
My main thing was, can you walk with me in ministry? Not can you walk with me in marriage? And so when you learn that, okay, cool, outside of when the ministry is over or when ministry goes into another degree, can you still handle that? And so fast forward through the engagement, yeah, we stressing. I'm stressing. I'm trying to believe God. I'm like, okay, God, you gonna come through, this, that, and other. Excuse me, I was no longer working for the place I was working at. I think I resigned from that place.
Yeah,
and I'm just like, okay, God, okay, all right. I'm getting words over here, words over there, and yeah, nothing happened. I'm like, yo, paying my tithes, paying my offering. I'm not saying this for somebody to stop paying their tithes, but yeah, it was like, okay, God, am I doing something wrong? So I kept on. So we made it official. We got married, but even through that process, through that year process, it was like, yo, we're not ready for this, and I knew it, but I didn't accept it.
I think
because
sooner than you did.
Huh?
I said I think I accepted it sooner than you did. Like I accepted, like, okay, I don't think we was ready. Like I accepted that, and then you were like still like thinking like, no, we good.
But see, here it is. I remember 2 weeks before the actual wedding day, I said, hey, do you want to postpone this?
Oh.
And you was like, no, we good. We got this.
Yeah. When
I heard you say that, I was like, okay, cool. We're going to go forward. And when I was like, okay, cool. But in my mind, I'm like, yo, we need, instead of me taking authority, I gave you power.
My God.
And so really, it was like, okay, I was looking for you to say no. Let's. I mean, yes, we could postpone it and stop it, but it was like, I knew what you've been through. I knew what I've been through. It was like, yo, we came this far. Everybody's celebrating. She said, yeah, we could do it. So it's like, okay, cool. Let's keep going.
Yeah. Just a quick comment on that. I feel like I was more embarrassed to go forward and then like say, oh no, we're not gonna get married, than to just like go through with it. Like I think I was more like thinking about the embarrassment of just calling it off than just moving forward. That's what I was thinking about. It really wasn't even about like, are we ready or not? It was really like, no, that's too embarrassing. We already told everybody, like, yeah, we're gonna go through with this.
Because honestly, at that point, I wasn't worried about the embarrassment because I was like, yo, are we ready for this? And when I wasn't seeing nothing flow, it made me start to question, one, was I really living the life God wanted me to live?
Mm-hmm.
It made me question, was I upholding the standards of God? But then also, honestly, it made me question, was you really my wife to be with? Like, it made me question, like, where's this favor that people preach about all the time? Like, yo, what the heck? Like, I ain't got no favor right now. I ain't getting nothing right now. And the crazy part about it is, I will prophesy to you, and the prophecy come to pass.
Yes.
I'm like, how the heck she just got a new car? She just got a brand new job that she's been waiting for, and I'm over here looking like Tom and Jerry just chasing a cat mouse. Like, what the freak? Like, God, this ain't right. And so that's why I said I was really hoping for you to say no. Let's cancel this. And when I heard you say yeah, it was like, okay, cool. Honestly, very transparent. Even the day of the wedding, I was like, yo, I'm not gonna show up because I lost my ring. I'm like, God, I lost my ring. Wow. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. How the heck I lose? I just had the ring 2 days ago. How the heck I lost my ring? And so I'm like, okay, I should have took that as a sign. Yeah. It's like the signs kept on coming, but I kept on ignoring because I was more concerned about how you and other people feel versus what I was feeling and what I was thinking and what I was going through my own self.
Yes. Okay.
And so my biggest thing that I dealt with was one, condemnation, because I put myself in a place where I had to ignore what I was feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Literally because it was like, yo, I seen the signs. Everything is falling into place. And then let's take it even deeper. The ring that I had for you was too big.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, yo, it was like, okay, cool.
Lost my ring.
Huh?
Remember, I eventually lost my ring.
Exactly. So it's like, yo, what the freak? Like, yo, God, you telling me something, I'm just not listening. So one, I was already stressed out because before the marriage, financially trying to get stable, I had goals for myself. I had personal goals that I wanted to accomplish, getting my credit right. Honestly, I wasn't used to having to worry about somebody. I'm the only child on my mom's side, so I ain't used to having to deal with a whole bunch of other people. I'm an ambivert for a reason. I'm an extrovert when it comes to ministry, but I'm an introvert when I get by myself. And see, you had a whole bunch of people. You got siblings and everything.
Oh yeah.
And it's like y'all actually do stuff together. Like, yo, what is this?
All the time.
And so it's like I go to events. It's like, yeah, I'm just sitting there looking crazy. And even through the process of the engagement, it's like you will try to get me to get up and do stuff. And it's like, yo, this ain't me. This ain't me. And I didn't, huh?
I think that goes back to like us knowing each other or knowing ourselves first so that we can explain who we are and how we operate before getting together, because then I wouldn't have been pushing you outside of your comfort zone to the point where it was making you like really like upset with me sometimes. So like I think that's something that most people don't.
The crazy part about it, we even came up with a trigger word, like not a trigger word, but a code word to let us know when it's time to go.
Yes.
And it was like, yo, okay, I'm saying the code word, but it ain't working. Like, did she just aim for the code word? Like, what the heck? And it's simply because, once again, me growing up as only child, I didn't have the opportunity, and I'm grateful I grew up only child because it has its benefits, but I didn't have the opportunity of being able to know how to socialize with a lot of people. Okay. And so I socialize on a ministry basis because that's what I grew up in. I'm literally a church boy. And so if it ain't about ministry or about some things that I know of personally, then I don't know how to talk. Like, I don't know how to just talk about the sky falling. Like, what the devil? What you mean the sky's falling? Is Jesus coming back? Like, so it's like I did not know how to do that. And honestly, I did not know myself. Honestly, I didn't start learning myself until last year.
Wow.
I didn't start learning myself until literally when the divorce was being finalized. The people would ask me what's my favorite color. I'd tell them one color, not realize that I liked it a whole bunch more. What do you like to do? Or just travel? What else? I couldn't answer that. So it's like now I can say, yeah, I like to travel. I like to eat. Praise God. I like to go out, hang out. You know, I like to do different things. Now. I can say that now because at that time I couldn't say that.
Gotcha.
So yeah, then come the marriage.
Hold on one second. I'm gonna do that really quick. So for those of you guys just coming in, this is Tough Topic Tuesdays, and this is part 3 of my Nitty Gritty Relationship History. And I have my special mystery guest, it's not a mystery anymore, which is my ex-husband here, Paris Roper. And we are talking about our relationship history. We're discussing the good, the bad, and the ugly. And we're dropping some little gems of, lessons that we learned throughout this whole process. So back to the marriage. So where was your first hiccup like that you noticed in our marriage where you were just like, all right, come on, Jesus, I'm gonna need you to do something because things ain't looking right up in here. You still there? Your face froze. Hello. I think I lost you. Or maybe you got a call or something. Okay, he jumped out. He's gonna probably come back in just a second. But yeah, so I was just giving you an update for Star and Iva and Stephanie, everybody who is just coming in. So let me get him back up. Hold on one second.
I don't know.
Oh, there. It happens. It's technology for you. So I don't know if you heard my question.
No, what was your question?
Okay. I was like, getting into the marriage, what was the first couple of things, or maybe like, because I know for me, oh, now I'm hearing my echo. For me, it was a couple of things, but what was the first few signs that you were seeing where you were just like, okay, I don't know if this is gonna work, like where you started to see like kind of that downhill decline?
Honestly, it was the fact of the matter is I felt like I was putting in a lot of work, even though yes, at the time I was not working, I was doing ministry and I was making sure you was comfortable in the place that we're staying at, plus making sure, your Chris was good. I don't know if I can say his name on live, but oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to make sure he was good and just doing the things that I could do to help out so that when you do get off from work, it won't be a strain on you. So therefore I was cooking, I was cleaning. And to see that wasn't always applied was appreciation, acknowledgement, and affirmation. It was like, yo, uh, so you just gonna walk by, eat my food, and not say thank you. Like you just ain't gonna appreciate that. Like, and it was like, okay, I cleaned the room, make sure Chris was good, make sure he had a bath, make sure he ate whatever, and make sure you was good too when you got home. It was like, okay, yeah, you just ain't gonna say thank you, like, and it was like that lack of appreciation started to bother me, and it was like, yo, I don't know about this, because it was like, yo, yeah, a lot of times, I gotta give you your credit. A lot of times you apologize for it, but I feel like at times it wasn't really applied. It was just apologized.
What do you mean?
Like I can apologize for something, but if I don't put it into place, then it was like, okay, yeah, I just apologized, but I didn't put it into motion to apply it, what I apologized for. Now,
Okay,
here it
yeah.
is. You brought up a point one time, and you was like, maybe I am applying it. Maybe you just don't. You're not used to seeing it given the way I'm applying it or I'm offering it to you. And I could truly say a lot of stuff I wasn't used to. I wasn't used to, um, first of all, being a bonus father. What people call stepfather. I wasn't used to that life. So I didn't have a child. Riley is my first child. So it's like, yeah, a lot of stuff that I was doing, honestly, I was just doing it because that's what I believe I had to do. It wasn't the fact that I knew what I was doing.
Okay.
It was like, how do I make a load easy on her, and still be the man of the life, man of the marriage, man of the household, man of whatever. How do I make it easy on her? So I feel I
Got
feel like that was the first thing.
gotcha. I know that in the beginning I was I guess I would say like I wouldn't say spoiled, but like I would say like I was used to I was used to a certain type of thing happening and things that you're doing for me that I wasn't acknowledging it when it was happening because I was just kind of used to it. Like, okay, that's what you're supposed to do. Like, so it took me a while for me to like for it to register. Like, okay, even though like that's kind of like his role to play, it's still like good to say thank you, and that you appreciate it. And then we got into the whole thing about like me saying thank you, but you not appreciating the thank you because it was kind of like dry thank you. So it's like, okay, now I gotta put more emotion into my thank yous. Like, so that was all like an adjustment for me because I was just like, I said thank you.
Mhm. And,
Like,
and and then yeah, it's like you was full. You very much so was. To the point where if I was slack in doing something, you'd be like, okay, so you're just not gonna do this. And it was like, yo, all right, I'm gonna do it. Just chill. Because at the same time, I still had my own mindset, my own thoughts that was going on against me, the warfare I was going against, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. The things I was battling against, and it was like, yo, it's real. And I know a lot of people say, oh, the first 3 years of your marriage is the hardest. Listen, it's real because you don't you literally becoming one, and it's like I didn't know what I know now. It's like we literally was trying to become one in a chaotic situation
oh yeah,
because it was like, yo, there's no stability nowhere, and you're coming from a place where it's like you know how to manage certain things. I'm coming from a place where I know how to manage certain things, and I was on my own. You coming from a place of being a mother and trying to manage your own stuff, and it was like, yeah, this ain't gonna add up. This ain't gonna add up too good. So,
exactly.
yeah, and then we found out we was, I think it was the week of the honeymoon or the week after the honeymoon. We found out no that you end up getting pregnant. And then we found out I think in January. And I was like, okay, just come on, God, keep on adding up to it. All right. You want me to go crazy. All right. And so it got to the point where it's like I felt like I was fighting. Because I remember one time, I think you mentioned it on your last show, where I did a whole hotel thing. Um,
Mhm.
and it was like, okay, cool. She gonna appreciate this. And literally everything I had, I used to do it. And yeah, it was appreciated, but then I also felt like it was starting to become expected. Like it was
Mm.
like, okay, cool. Because I remember one time you made a comment like, "Why don't you do stuff like that?" And it was like, "Yo, my thing was, you want me to do stuff for you, but what are you doing for me? Like this is an iron sharpened iron type of thing. Like you can't just want me to shower you and I don't get showered. because what does it look like for me to make sure you got water and I'm dried out?
Jesus, my God.
So and then when it came even to the sex, it was like, yo, when you start pulling away, I'm like, yo, is it me? Is it something I said, something I did? And I was just like, yo, what the freak is going on? Huh?
It comes to what?
When it came to the sex life, it was like, okay, so we ain't doing this like this. Like, okay. And honestly, I literally I dealt with a lot of insecurities in sex.
Mm-hmm.
And so even with that, it was like it kind of made it worse when I felt rejected by you in that area.
Mm.
And then, when situations would come up or conversations would come up, it's like I felt attacked in that area. And it was like, okay, cool. I
Okay.
wish she would have never said this. Go ahead.
No, I was agreeing with you. I remember those very like cringy conversations we would have around sex, and it was just like, I want to say something. I don't know how to say it. Like, I hope it's received well. And like, because of the insecurity issue and my own insecurities, because, I was pregnant and getting bigger by the day. So, like, I was dealing with my own insecurities as well. And so, like, when it came to that sex, and it was just like, I was just like, I don't even know if I want to talk about this or like, how do I even approach it? Like, I felt like I was walking on eggshells because like, I just didn't want to say the wrong thing to trigger you or even trigger myself in any way. So it was just like a really, really, really touchy situation during that time.
And so even with that, it was like, okay, cool. I'm not being appreciated. I'm not being acknowledged, and I'm not being affirmed. And it's like, okay, cool. So let me at least be aroused. Let me at least be felt on. And when that didn't happen, it was like, yo, what the freak? Like, I can't get nothing. So I literally would get on the phone with a certain leader, and it's like, yo, I'm tired of this crap. Like I would literally cry on the phone because like, yo, I'm doing the best I can from a person that don't know this stuff.
Right.
Like I literally start from nothing. I didn't know none of this stuff. And so literally for me to not know anything and still have the warfare that I have going on as well as trying to make sure I cover down on my family, it was like, yo, all right. um, you gonna help me out now? Okay, cool. And then I thought about I even got mad at God because I was like, yo, how the heck is God gonna bless you with a whole new the job you've been dreaming of and you want it and a brand new car, and I'm driving this old beat up, beat up white Buick Century. Like, what the devil? Like, wait, God, this ain't right.
That car was that car brought a lot of problems. Lord have mercy. I remember that car. All the tires, Jesus.
And then to think that there were times where I would go speak and I was big on when it came to ministry, like making sure I have the woman that's gonna cover me and trying to accepting that there were times where you didn't feel like it because you worked and there are times you just was tired or there are times you want to go with your family. It was like because I was big on church. I was listen ministry call. Let's do it. Somebody invite me because I felt like I had to go to a safe place for me. And at that time, church was my safe place simply because I wasn't getting what I needed to get from home. So instead of running from watch this, instead of running to another woman, I'll run to another church.
Mm.
So it's like I didn't run to a woman, but I did run to a place where I was comfortable because that wasn't the place I was raised in, church, an atmosphere of worship and praise where I could flow prophetically and be appreciated, be accepted, be acknowledged, even that every now and then be affirmed. So it's like that's why I would come home and be like, okay, cool. All right, I'm good now. Let's do this. Let's go through a whole nother week.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
Yeah, I would get upset after a while. I was getting upset, like, dang, you always in church. Like, why you always in church all the freaking time? Like, I'm saved too, but I don't be in church that much. Like, and I would get upset and like try to make you not like accept certain opportunities, because I was just like, okay, like that's enough. You can calm down. Like, and then when you told me that before, I was just like, oh, okay. Like it made so much sense after this.
Yeah, because just like for example, going with your family, that was your safe spot. Like you would feel like you could be yourself and this, that, and other. Well, being in church, I feel like I'd be myself because one, that was my safe spot. That's all I knew growing up. My friends was even churchy, so it's like all I knew was church, and so either that or traveling somewhere. Like, and because at the time, like literally, I remember one time I was trying to travel out of town somewhere, and you was getting upset because I was
Mm,
determined to go. I was determined to go. I was like, yo, I'm out of here. Like, I'm gonna go on this trip. I don't care what you say. I'm gonna put these coins together with this coin, and we're gonna make some work. And literally, it was
mm,
God that told me not to go, and I was like, God, this ain't right. Now you want to speak to me? Like, now you want to tell me not to? Now you want to speak to me? This whole time, now you want to speak to me? And so it was like, yo, this is crazy. Like, she could just go to her family house and feel comfortable. I gotta wait till her service is going on and hope that my tires ain't flat in the morning. So yeah,
yeah, I remember that. It was really frustrating too, because for me, because I was like, this is the worst possible time for you to go out of town right now. Like, I'm big pregnant, we're about to have a baby, like we're trying to get a place. Like, what you talking about? Like, why is this even a discussion? Like, I was so upset. But like, moving past that, like at what point did you finally just kind of check out and just was like, you know what, that's it for me?
when I felt like my hands was under, when I was under arrest,
What do you mean?
when I was mentally and emotionally under arrest, when it seemed like I just couldn't do nothing else. Nothing I was doing was satisfying you. It seemed like nothing I was doing was satisfying you. Nothing I was like me doing what I was doing in the house, me, you know, and we would have conversations where in so many ways it would connect to other relationships that you was in. And the comparison was like even more damaging because it was like, yo, I'm not like it's a whole different ball game. And so
Right.
it was like, yo, and then to see the rejection that I was, the feeling of rejection that I was receiving, even when it was just intimacy time or whatever, it was like, yo, I'm tired. And then the times, and those was my fighting times. That's the thing. You didn't even see that was my time of me trying to fight and persevere. But when I got tired of fighting, I literally felt myself drained to the point where you didn't even know that I was literally um, going to nervous breakdown modes.
Mm.
Like there were times where I would literally be at the house and it's like, yo, I don't know what else to do. And I would just sit in the bathroom on the toilet, not even using it, just sit in the bathroom on the toilet and just cry because it's like, yo, what more can I do? Because everybody's pulling from me and I'm trying to give to everybody, but nobody's giving to me. I got leaders saying, oh, you the man, you got to do this, you got to do that, but nobody's telling. I felt like nobody was telling you what you had to do.
Mm. Gotcha.
And as much as I love the apostles that gave us the premarital counseling. It was like, and we've had this talk where it's like I felt like I was double teamed at times, and it was like it kind of went further in the marriage because like I would go to them, and it was like, yo, y'all keep on telling me what I need to do, but can somebody tell her to love her man? Like, god dang, like yo, like can somebody like and literally honestly. To this very day, I'm very determined not to go through that again to the point where it's like I'm not going to be double teamed. That literally left a scar that God is yet still healing because it's like, yo, if I feel like I'm being double teamed, I'm gonna walk away. And so, I'm literally giving everything. I truly say, I think I brought up the divorce in August or September, and so from January to that time of when I brought it up, I was fighting. From the time we found out
Mm.
that Riley was coming, I was shocked because I was like, yo, what happened to the 2 year plan? Yeah, that just went out the window. Yeah, I'm trying to really think about, okay, did I wrap it up that night? Like I'm really trying to think, like, is this really possible? Like, I'm just as
Yeah.
a there's a lot of thoughts going through. And so from then to the time I brought up divorce, I was literally fighting, mind you now, with the little that I had left. I was fighting on what they were called reserved energy.
Mm.
So it's like, yo, okay, I done fought to the point where I can't fight no more. I got tired of crying. I got tired of trying to please everybody, and I was honestly like, bump everybody. Like I'm done. Like bump what they gonna say, but because I did not, I never thought I would go through a divorce, and it was like, yo, I always said my first divorce is gonna be my last marriage, but God may change that. I don't know, but anyways, um. I'm hoping he do because Lord knows yeah. Anyways, praise God. Um, so it's like I just got tired and I was like, yo. And so when you actually started fighting, I was already done. I was like, yo, I'm tired of this. I'm not fighting no
Yeah.
more. I'm not giving my hopes up no more. I'm not doing none of this. And like honestly, when you started fighting, you started doing cards, you started writing little stories in the cards and whatnot, you started writing little notes, you start sending me a little text, and it was like, yeah, that's cute, but I'm done. Like this is nice, but I'm done. It's like because I literally was exhausted, and the fact that I couldn't go out of town that time when I wanted to. Yes, it was a church event, but that was my refreshing. That was my moment to say, you know what? Okay, let me go get my mind right and come back and get on the road again. But because I believe God told me not to go. I believe God told me not to go, and then things just started shutting down where I couldn't go. Even if I was to disobey God, it still didn't work. And it was like, okay, what the heck is going on?
Yeah.
And I started questioning my own self. I started questioning like, are you really a man? It started questioning me a whole lot in a lot of different areas. Are you really a man of God? Are you really? Do God really even speak to you? Like a lot of stuff started going through my mind,
Hmm.
and so it's like, yo. Then when Riley was born, it was like, okay, we could see how this gonna go. And then honestly, to hear the medical stuff that she was going through, I was pissed. I was like, yo, ain't no way in the heck this gonna come. Like I was so pissed that I was hurt. And I didn't want to see you. I didn't want you to see me crying because you was crying.
Yeah.
And it was like, yo, okay, somebody got to be strong. But I never had the opportunity to release them tears.
Yes. I got you. Wow.
So it's like because I never had the opportunity to release them tears about a child that we both created, it was like, yo, I guess I gotta just keep on going forward. I gotta do what they
Mm.
say in society, man up. And it was like, okay, but even in the police department, man can be down too. And I never had a man down moment.
Ooh. That's powerful.
So
I
it,
that
it so yeah, I was just done after all that, and after hearing all the stuff. It was like, yo, and feeling like my prayers wasn't going through. I was done. I said, you know what, bump this marriage. I ain't taking this no more.
And I mentioned that, like, the moment when you was fighting, I was not paying attention. And then the moment when you stopped fighting, that's when I like paid attention and tried to fight. And it was like you were already like checked out at that point.
Yeah, and I remember you used to say stuff like, "I'm not gonna force you to be here," and in my mind, I'm like, "You ain't forcing me." Like I was already like, "If you want to leave, bye." Like literally, just just let us co-parent. All I want, and I still say this to this day, all I want is peace. Just let us co-parent. We're gonna do how we got to do it, you know. And it was like, bye. Like I don't want this because it's like, yo. Because then I started feeling like I was being taken advantage of when it came to like dealing with stuff with Chris. Like I had to do this. I had to do that. And it was like, yo, I remember one time I told you, I was like, and I was wrong. I told you something that was very hurtful in reference to Chris. And it was like, it was the reality, but it was also the wrong timing of saying it and the wrong way I said it.
Mhm.
Because the reality is the statement was facts, but the timing of saying that wasn't the right timing. I said it out of frustration because I felt like I was being mandated to do something that I did that and then some. Like I even remind you of the time that, you know, the things he have learned from me. And I was like, yo, can you appreciate that?
Mhm.
And so it's like, yo, I felt like I had more enemies than friends, which
Gotcha.
during the separation, I'm gonna be very transparent, during the separation led to suicidal thoughts again. Like it literally led to like, yo, what the freak? And it took one of my mentors to come down here and it was like, yo, you're depressed and you got anxiety and suicide thoughts are wrapped in your mind. Nobody knew it because I'm still preaching. So I felt like I
Mm.
was reliving history when I was younger. Felt like I was reliving it again during the separation.
Wow.
So, but yeah,
I
I
didn't
was
know that.
done.
I did not know that last part. And as far as the situation with Chris, I think one thing that I had to take away from that um, was that y I couldn't like I just threw Chris on you pretty much. Like I kind of like was like, "Hey, you're a co-parent now, so we got to do this and this is what you have to do," you know? And I looking back, I was just like, "You know what? That could have been handled differently." Like I think that I should have probably like eased you into it or something like that, but just not like, okay, instant father, we're married. You know what I mean? Like that's just the way it is. Like there, and like with you not having any previous experience like with children of your own, so that was definitely one of those moments I look back and was like, yeah, I took a little bit of an L on that one because I could have handled that a lot better.
Yeah, and I definitely agree. Um, and then what made it worse for me was when the separation took place and we finally was like, yo, we're gonna go our separate ways. Um, I was literally I was trying to fight myself to literally do counseling. Like I was
Mm-hmm.
literally trying to fight. I was because I remember one night we talked. Um, so I could see Riley or whatever. We met up at McDonald's. I poured my heart out and I was like, "Yo, you're a good mother," and I just affirming you. And in my mind, I'm like, "Yo, this is what I needed. Like this is what I needed." But and I was like, "Yo, I remember telling you I was willing to do counseling, but it was like I was fighting myself to the point where it's like I was so done that I was like, yo, I don't know about this because I would hate to go back and then the count. Like my main thing is I don't want this to be in vain, and there was just too much already, still too much turmoil, and just too much stuff. And it was like, yo, and so when the separation happened, and in so many ways, Chris got pulled from me, like that snatched almost like my heart out because like, yo, I understand we're going through, and I kept on saying, even when we was talking, when I brought up the divorce, I was like, yo, I would still want to be in Chris' life, and it was like, yo, yeah, that hurt it because like, yeah, the pressure of being a father was already on that because of that, but it was like, yo, at the same time, I grew into it in some ways, and I created a bond with this dude,
Right.
and it was like, okay, yeah, he's not there. And I got people asking me like, "Where's your son at? Where's your son at?" It was like, "Yeah, oh no, he with his mama." And that's when people started realizing, okay, you're going through something in your marriage, and it's like, well, dang, why y'all couldn't see this thing? Like, yo, guess like I just really felt like I felt like I was dying inside. And so literally,
Mm.
when you would start fighting, it was like, that's cute, that's good. And even when the moments where before Riley came, you want to get intimate, and I start saying no, and it was like, yeah, because I'm not, I don't want it no more. It's like the thrill is gone. Like it was like the fight is no longer there. I lost hope. So
And
yeah.
that was her, like, getting the flip side of that rejection. I was just like, oh, okay. Like,
And I
well,
literally
we
was
get
like,
to.
I was literally like, she gonna reap what she sow in this, cause you want this now? Okay, nope. I'm gonna show you how I feel. I literally did it. I was like, she gonna reap what she sowed. So
I was feeling salty. So, like, during the separation time, I know that I can take responsibility and say that I was bitter and I was being resentful towards you, and keeping Chris from you. Also, because I didn't want him to feel like the push and pull of, like, is he like my dad? Is he not my dad? Like, I didn't want him to have to deal with that whole thing. So I was just like, let me just keep him out of this. But as far as like the whole final decision, like coming to that final decision, I was like fighting it internally for months. I think we were separated for over a year. It was like over a year before we finally like signed the papers. We got divorced on Zoom, y'all. Like that was the weirdest thing ever in my life. Like
COVID.
COVID tripping on every area of life. Like we literally had to go on Zoom and hear other people get divorced and then divorce ourselves on Zoom. Like that was so weird. But before that final decision happened, I was like going back and forth and back and forth. Like, should I stay? Is it worth it? Like, would it be more hurtful to us to stay together or to like separate? Like, it was just a lot of back and forth. Like for a couple of months before we actually made that final decision. And I remember like even when I was like, oh, I'm done, I was like, no, but like, we could probably still work it out. Like, did you ever have like those back and forth feelings, or like when you were done, you were kind of like done?
Once Riley was born, I did have the back and forth feelings. Um, like even when you was living with your sister at the time, it was like, okay, cool. Let me try to get on my grind and see if we can make this thing work. Um, and I think that's when I just started another job,
Mm-hmm.
which is the job I still have now. It was like, okay, I got started in this new job. You want to see me and Chris every day. It was like, yeah, that's not gonna happen. And pressure came from that. It was like, yo, I want to see my child. You want to see Riley. And I mean, you want to see Chris. I want to see Riley. And it was like, yeah, uh, yeah, that ain't gonna happen. And so it was like once that I had an idea of saying, okay, let's try to give this a chance. But then I don't know what happened, but it was like I know we got into this huge argument because you were living with Pembroke Pines. You was living in Pembroke Pines, and we got into this huge argument. I don't know what it. I know I was just frustrated because
Mm-hmm.
you was telling me to bring Chris, and I'm like, yo, I am tired. I worked a long shift that day. Like then I had to go get Chris, and then it's like I was just tired. And it's like you wasn't trying to hit at. You just want to see Chris, and it was like, okay, cool. You know what? You want to see him? Come get him, because I was just done, and because I was tired. Like he's in the room playing, watching TV, and I'm trying to make sure we got dinner tonight. Like that's not even being. I feel like that wasn't even being considered for, accounted for, and it was like, yo. Mm-mm. And so when that argument happened, I feel like anybody that pushed me to the point where I gotta literally get not aggressive and physical, but aggressive in my tone to the point where I'm screaming to the point where me and my mom got into it.
I remember that.
And so it's like, yo, and I'm cussing. It was like, nah, nah, this ain't gonna happen. This ain't gonna work because I allowed that situation to pull me out of too much of my character. And if it was in public, it would have destroyed my integrity. It destroyed my integrity in my house with myself, but it was in public, it would have been a public shame.
Mm.
And so it's like, nah. And when that happened, I was like, yeah, I'm done. I literally started going to certain events about fatherhood and this and other. Um, Met my attorney. I said, listen, I ain't trying to fight long. I just want peace. I just want to be able to see my daughter. Um, she in her feelings right now. You gonna have to deal with it because you're a woman. You gonna handle that. I'm paying you to handle that. Boom. Like literally, I was not trying to communicate with you throughout the divorce because I literally I was gonna put everything on the record. This is what she said to me. This is what she did to me. I was gonna put everything on the record. And it was like, yo. And so throughout the divorce process, um, when I actually made up my mind, say, you know what, I'm going through with the divorce. From that day until even when the divorce got finalized, that's when I started dealing with myself. I started accepting what I did wrong. And I would tell people were like, why did your marriage end? And I tell people these words. I knew how to pastor her. I didn't know how to love her.
Mm.
And the truth of the matter is, and I'm not trying to throw shade to no church, but it's like a lot of churches teach you how to be a preacher, but they don't teach you how to be a husband.
Talk about it.
And so therefore it's like, yo, I didn't know how to be a husband. I didn't know how to be a father. I knew how to be a preacher. That was easy for me. Like, okay, Apostle, you want me to preach? Say less. Let's do it. Like, that was easy for me. But for me to literally say, you know what, I'm gonna love this lady, it's like, yeah, to death do us part. Shoot, and one of us about to die because I'm getting tired of this crap here. Like, yo, and honestly, I was like, yo, I didn't. All right, so when I say this, I want to make it known. My disclaimer is I love my child. At the same time, there were moments I was like, dang, why couldn't I wrap it up that night? Like, now I got to deal with this lady for the rest. Because at that time, I was like, yo, she's going to be better than me all my life. And it's like, I'm not going to take this. Like, literally, I was like, God, you're going to have to do something. I'm trying to get myself right. And no, God, this ain't going to work. And so, literally, I was like, yo, why couldn't I wrap it up that night? Like, and then I started thinking, I was like, the things that actually happened on the honeymoon, I was like, wait, this couldn't happen on the honeymoon because, we didn't really do nothing until the last day. It's like, okay. And so it was like, yeah. But, yeah, so when that fight took place, I was just like, yeah, I'm done. And I didn't look back. I didn't look back. I went forward and I just prayed. I said, God, give me peace. I just want peace. I want peace. I want to be able to see my child. It hurted me to the point where my child didn't even know me like that because I wasn't around. Because I felt like, once again, I didn't know how to be a father. So it's like I wasn't around because I didn't. It's not because I didn't want to. One, we're going through a whole separation. Your family part here and stuff. It's like, yo, how? And I didn't know you was expecting things from me even then. Because I'm like, okay, is she gonna let me see my child? No? Okay, cool. And it's like I started swallowing that, like, okay, cool. I can't see my child. I just started seeing things. Then you was like, you wasn't comfortable with me seeing her. It's like, this is my child. Like, how are you not comfortable with me seeing her?
Let me rephrase. It's not that I wasn't comfortable with you seeing her. I wasn't comfortable with her being with you alone because you weren't around her, so you didn't know her. It's not that I didn't want you to see her. I just wanted to be there when you saw her.
and even with that, it was like, okay, so I don't get no father and daughter time. Like I would listen when I said I was starting to feel things. I was like, yo, I'm just going to play her little game because I know she very probably over 10 bitter right now or angry because I had people like, yo, you want me to handle it? I was like, nah, I'm good. I'm not going to do that because it's still the mother of my child. I ain't going to do that. But I was like, yo, God, you're going to have to work this out. And slowly but surely, you start coming to it. I was like, okay. She started letting me see her more. Okay, every now and then. Okay, cool. It started going to every once a week or every other week or something like that. And I was like, okay, cool. God, look at you. You actually moving for me now. like, okay. So it's like And literally, my main thing is, I even told you, I just want peace. I didn't care about anything else. I just want peace. And that's my main thing is like, I just want peace. I didn't dig in my nose, by the way. I was just stretching on the side. But
You put, because
listen,
I didn't even.
but somebody on here did. I know somebody watching carefully. But I just wanted peace, and that's my biggest thing right now. If it don't bring me peace, if it can't have peace in it, I don't want it. Like, I
I
just
feel
want
you.
peace. So yeah,
What's up? Well, we finally at the end of things.
praise
Any
God.
last words? Any last advice, golden nuggets to people who probably have been through a divorce, or people who are dealing with a separation, or just people who are just about to get in marriage? Any things to think of before getting married, things like that?
Um, for those that have been through divorce, I want you to know that there's life after the divorce. The
Mm-hmm.
marriage may have failed, but you did not fail. That you as an individual did not fail just because the union didn't stay together.
Yeah.
For those that's about to get married, don't feel pressured by nobody. Like, take your time. I don't care what the family's saying. I don't care what the church saying. You make sure you take your time, and you make sure you know what you're getting in before you get it. Don't do it because of emotions. Do it because you know that you have the stability to stand. Those that's going through a separation, go through the emotions. Deal with the emotions. If you lead to it, if it ends up to a divorce, or if it ends up to y'all getting back together, in the midst of y'all separation, deal with the emotions that need to be dealt with. Like, don't keep on pointing fingers and not looking at yourself in the mirror. Like, deal with you. So overall, love still conquers. So hey,
I appreciate the part about dealing with the emotions, because I feel like that was a pain point for us, where we just kept sweeping our issues or our emotions, like the negative ones, like under the rug, thinking like I guess it was gonna go away eventually. I don't know, but doing that doing that literally led, I believe, to the detriment of the marriage, because like I said before, like it just got to a point where it was so piled up so high that when we like finally went to like try to address it, it was just like, dang, like that's a lot. Like, like that's a lot to deal with. And then, like I said, like you said, like when you were fighting, like you wanted to be there, I really wasn't trying to deal with those emotions or those issues. But then when it flipped over and you were checked out, I was checked in, and like now I want to deal with it. And like we were just like missing each other. So I think dealing with those emotions and early on is really important.
I will also say, to those that are single, make sure you deal with everything that you need to deal with. Um, Work on the goals that you're trying to work on. Like, um, I had a lot of insecurities, but I never dealt with them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and because I never dealt with them, I was never really deal with the man. I never dealt with the man in me. I dealt with the man of God in me.
Mm.
And so, literally, I will always tell people, deal with the person that you are. Deal with your identity. Deal with who you are. Acknowledge yourself, so that when you do present yourself before somebody, they can acknowledge you for who you are, not what you portray to be.
Wow,
So
that's so
yeah,
good. Well, I appreciate you coming on
no problem.
and being very, very honest with me. I learned some new things I didn't know about. So that's always fun. And also just like I said, like I think more people need to have these conversations, not all necessarily to get closure, because I feel like we already addressed a great deal of these issues in our own time, but just because a lot of times like we're dealing with things in the midst of it, and like but we can't really see it for what it was, or like but like when you come back like months later, maybe even years later, in retrospect, it's like you got 2020 vision, and you can be like, oop, yep, that part, yep, right there, is that where we messed up? Right over here, we should have never did that. Like, and you can see things so much clearer, and it's a lot like you can learn so much more when you go back to the situation, even if you can't talk with that other person, but just in your own time to just go back and like reflect on certain things can really just be a game changer.
Listen, I was so. I just thought about this. I was so done. I think I was prophesying to you about a whole nother dude.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yo, I was. That's how I know I was done. I was like, yo, this is how your future husband gonna look, and we still married. But yeah, I definitely say people, um, as a love coach and sexologist, it literally helped me deal with a lot of stuff that I never dealt with, and it was like, yo, all right, that band-aid hurt coming off, but I'm glad I did what I did. So
Right?
yeah,
If you can't stay out.
so I'm glad. Even though you
Well,
didn't think I was gonna do this, but it's cool.
right? I was really shocked that you said yes. I was like, okay, come on, growth and maturity.
Cause see, I believe you can't testify. It's not a testimony if you're still dealing with it. I'm not dealing with this stuff no more. Like
Right, right.
I've overcame this.
So,
So.
so good. Awesome. Any other closing remarks before I end this live? I know this one was pretty long.
No, I'm good.
All right, cool, cool. Well, again, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Next week, we're probably just going to do a little Q&A just to wrap up the month. And so if you have any questions or concerns about the relationship or about your own relationship, I'm not calling myself a relationship expert. I'm just saying, like, if you want to ask a girl a question, like, I'm here. And then I'll be answering those questions in the Q&A next week. So thank you so much for tuning in, George. I really appreciate it. Thank you again, Paris. We'll definitely talk again soon. And alrighty, have a great night. And you girls remember that the goal in the streets is the truth, but can't nobody shine like you. Talk to you soon.